Hi guys, I am here on No, I'm not on Facebook. I'm on YouTube because Facebook has been being an absolute pain. Now, hopefully, I will be able to see myself going live. If you bear with me a minute, I will check that out. As this is the first time I've run a live in this particular way. It's going to be very, very odd if I do suddenly see myself like that. Let's turn the sound down before it all just does masses of feedback. Okay. Nope, I'm trying to mute myself. If somebody could type some comments in to let me know that you're actually able to watch this, if you can see me, that would be cool. Because I think I can see the chat here. So let's just double check the chat is working. And hey, so I can see some chat. Ooh, I'm falling off my chair. I can see chat on my phone and I can actually see chat on my laptop. So let's just, oh, so sorry. So sorry about this. There we go. That is slightly better. So if I'm looking off to the side here, it's because that's where I'm checking to see if any chat is coming up. I'm not sure who's actually watching today. And I'm just going to double check that everybody knows that we are live over in the Facebook group. So I shall just repost that message. And then we can actually get on with some of the content for today. Haha, yes. It will say offline before we start. It's just the way YouTube. We're live. If you want to share the link as well, then please do. We're now live. Okay, let's just get that posted. And I will then switch back across. There we go. Right, yes, YouTube is a little bit odd. Trying to jump in early, it just wasn't very happy. It may be because I started the live stream on my phone rather than on my laptop. My laptop decided that it wasn't going to play and wouldn't let me start the live stream through the laptop. Otherwise, you'd have had a beautiful graphic before we started, giving you the title. But unfortunately, for some reason the encoding system wasn't working on my laptop, which is far too technical and sounds very dull and boring, so we won't continue talking about that. But Karen, thank you so much, and I'm glad that you can hear me, because it's been quite pitiful really over the last few days with the way that Facebook has been treating live streams. Everything's been falling apart, it's been glitchy, it's generally been unpleasant. So that's why I thought this week would have an experiment with YouTube, and we'll see how that goes. The one thing that is slightly different is I see counts of people going up for watchers, but I don't actually know who they are. So please, anybody who is joining the live stream, please pop a comment into the comments box so that I know who's joined, and let everybody know that you are actually here. One of the things that I would like to encourage on today's video is this communication back and forth. I will be, because we're talking about mindset, I will be encouraging you to put comments in the chat box so that we can see exactly what's going on and that people can talk back and forth to each other. And I will keep checking back to see if there are any new comments popping up. Now, mindset is absolutely critical if you are a self-employed person, because you are effectively on your own for 90% of the time that you are working. you are trying to deal with everything by yourself, which means that the only resource that you have available to you every single time that you are working is your own brain, is your mind. So if your mindset has gone askew, if it's slightly awry, then that can throw your whole world into a handcart. So it is really, really, really important to get your mind in the game and to get your mindset right. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I've had the kids home because of snow days, which is something that the UK has never set up to deal with. And then I started a new diet. Now, that has totally thrown me for a loop. I had complete fuzz. So, in effect, I've been out of the correct mindset for the last 2 weeks or so. Now, this could be a seasonal thing as well, because I've seen a lot of comments in the YarnAcademy group with people who are saying that they're just not in the right space. You know, we've gone past New Year, we've gone past the first payday or the second payday of the new year, and it's all just starting to, the momentum's going. It's all starting to just feel a bit bleh. We're doing the whole comparison to other people. We're looking at photos on Instagram and Pinterest, and they're all beautiful and people are so productive, and I'm not any of those things, and none of that's happening for me. And so this is where we need to just kind of get hold of ourselves and give ourselves a mental shake. And just, I'm going to walk you through the actual mindset process that people go through when they start a new business or start a new process or start any new learning experience. So I have so many notes. So there's basically 4 stages that you go through, which is facing a challenge, problem solving, deeper learning, and then finally the land of success. And you start off and you start up really nice and high, and yes, I'm starting a new business, I'm doing a new design, I'm doing a new colorway, I'm experimenting with some new process, everything's wonderful, and then it tanks. And this is harder than I was expecting. This is really hard. Way harder than I thought it was going to be. And then you sort of plateau off at the bottom with just general, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know what I should do next. I don't know which of the 15,000 bits of contradictory information I should try to accept or test or play with. But then you kind of get everything together and you start to step up and step up. And it isn't as easy as I thought. Is a thought that comes through, and it's I need to kind of refocus, and then you refocus, and then you have another little step, and then you refocus and have another little step, and you keep stepping and stepping and stepping until suddenly you realize you're back out the other side. And I did it. I launched the pattern, I got my colorway sorted, I got my Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook processes nailed. But it's that horrible dip and then step to success that you need to go through. And it's that cycle that people find themselves in time after time after time. And it's how you approach that cycle that will define how successful you will be and how quickly you get through that cycle as well. I'm just going to grab a drink, and please let me know in the comments if this is making any kind of sense, or if you feel that you've gone through any of these stages. Let's put my Tigger mug down over here. And so basically, one of the key things that you need to do is address the way that you are thinking about each of these stages, about each of these problems. So again, if you let me know which of these phrases you find yourself thinking, then that will probably point you into the right direction of where you are going right, or where you might possibly be falling into the trap of slightly going wrong. Yes, Karen. Yes, okay, that's good to know. Everybody ends up going round and round the cycle. So I made a mistake, or mistakes help me improve my thinking. Now, you know, you've still made the mistake. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's how you then approach that. Is like, I've made a mistake, I'm giving up, I don't know what to do. It's like, I made a mistake. Yes, sad is hard. Sad is really hard. And then you have, this is too hard. Yeah, yes, this is too hard. Life can be hard at times, but you could also think that this may take some time and effort to resolve or to fix or to work my way through. If you just allow yourself to have that mental space to say I'm not going to get it instantly, it'll take a bit of time for me to deal with, then that will lessen any of the pressures and stresses that you're putting on yourself to be perfect. And I'll come back to perfect in a minute. I don't understand can be replaced with what am I missing? So if you don't understand everything, then that's perfect. Nobody can understand everything. But if you look for the bits of the picture that you're missing, then you'll be able to make progress so much faster than just sitting there going, I don't know, I haven't got a clue. Whereas if you look for what you can do to improve your knowledge, then that is a massive, massive mental leap in a good direction. And then, of course, there's the whole I give up. I just give up. It's too much. I'm going to go to bed, pull the duvet over my head, and the world will be better. Or you could look at what could I use to help me? You know, what resources do I have at hand, or what do I have access to that could help me through whatever this hurdle is at this point in time? You know, it's not just about saying I've given up. You can fall over, but if you lie on the floor, you'll never get up again. Or if you can get up, you can then move on and try something different. Ruth, I don't blame you. The duvet has been calling me so strongly in the last week. I tell you, it's unbelievable. I honestly, I think it is definitely a seasonal thing. You've had Christmas and holidays and family parties, and you've got yourself all psyched up for the brand new year, and everything's going great, and you've looked at business plans for the new year, and now it's just all tailing off, and all of that excitement and impetus has gone, and the duvet is calling, which is why I really wanted to talk about mindset so much at the moment. It's good enough versus is it really the best I can do right now? And I don't want people to equate, is it the best I can do right now with being perfect? I really dislike the word perfect. People interpret perfect as meaning something that it doesn't actually mean. And I think we really need to put right now on the end of things when we're talking about, is this the best that we can do right now? Is this the best I can do today? If it isn't, then don't be lazy and fix it. But if it is the best you can do today, then release it. Let it out into the world, whether that be copy for a page or a newsletter or an image or a photograph. If it is the best that you can do today, that is perfectly good enough. If it's like my son doing his homework and he's got to do a mind map and he's put 5 legs on the mind map and said, no, that's it. That's all I can think of. I can't think of any more things. Whereas we both know that in reality, if he spent another 3 minutes on it, he'd have another 10 things on that mind map. And that is the difference between, is this the best I can do right now, or is it just enough? It's barely enough. I'm scraping by. It's the bare minimum I can get away with. So you want to avoid that, well, it's the bare minimum, but it'll do. And not go so far as to, it has to be supremely perfect and flawless. We don't want to get to that mindset, but it needs to be as good as you can do it right now. So that's some of the ways that you can find yourself thinking about things. And it does seem to me, as a mum of a teenager, that a lot of the responses are they what my teenage son would say when I'm asking him about his homework? I don't understand it. I don't want to do it. I don't get it. I can't be bothered. Yeah, this is good enough. Or are we actually going to think about things like grown-ups for 30 seconds? It doesn't have to be for huge amounts of time, but you know, what can I find out that will help me with this? Is this as much as I can do right now, or can I just snidge in a little bit more? Or, do I need to go and look something up? Do I need to find somebody to help me? Those sorts of responses are different, and it's a completely different mindset, and it's a good learning mindset to have when you're looking at building a new business, because it is a new business. The word new gives you the clue. It's not something you've got huge amounts of experience in, so you will be learning on an almost daily basis about what is best for your business, what is best for you, and what is best for your customers, clients, consumers, or however you wish to describe them. So you really need to focus in on the terminology you're using, because even if the output is still the same, if your terminology changes slightly from sort of teenager boy to functioning adult, then the switch in mindset will be incredibly productive for you, and you will feel that you are achieving so much more with so much less stress and aggravation. Is this actually making sense to people? Especially anybody who has really felt the duvet calling them in the last week or so. Yes, Karen, the learning attitude is incredibly important. Every time I fail, I do actually look at that as an opportunity to improve, because you don't learn anything new if you get it right first time. Whilst, don't get me wrong, it's always fabulous to get something right first time. If you fail, you can learn so much more from that failing process. But it's only if you stop and give up that it all becomes a bit of wasted time, really. Good enough for today is a good mindset. Absolutely. It's like, can you do this any better today? If not, then absolutely excellent. I even came up with a new acronym for perfect. I also looked perfect up in terms of the dictionary definition. And perfect actually is defined as having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, as good as it is possible to be right now. I've added in the right now. But if you actually look at that definition, the definition doesn't mean faultless. It doesn't mean ultimate. It doesn't mean flawless. They are all their own words. Perfect means that it has all the required or desirable elements or qualities, and as good as it is possible to be. Now, I think that is so, so important, but people interpret the word perfect slightly differently. As I say, people tend to see perfect as faultless, flawless, ultimate. It's the creme de la creme of whatever it might be. And then they get stuck in a cycle waiting to achieve that faultless, flawless thing, whatever that thing may be. So what I've actually done, as I say, is come up with an acronym for perfect, or turned perfect into an acronym. So for me, and it would be lovely if others adopted this as well, perfect actually is, if you're creating a perfect pattern, for example, it will be powerful, efficient, repeatable, fun, educational, and craft time. So these are elements that I would want to be part of my process for creating a pattern, or creating a yarn colorway, or creating a training module, for example. I want to be able to repeat it. I want it to be powerful. I want people to have fun whilst they're using it or learning through it. I do want even my patterns to be educational. So it could be that they're teaching people a new technique, or showing them a new way of using yarn, or a new way of combining stitches together, rather than just doing the same old, same old. Now, of course, I'm not really dissing a granny square, but there are many more ways that you can use crochet other than granny squares. So come on, guys, let's put things together in a new and different way. So everything can be educational, and of course there should always be craft time, because we are yarnpreneurs, we are yarn entrepreneurs. So anything and everything that we do will at some point inevitably involve craft time. So I will put that together in some sort of downloadable or an image, or I'll stick it on Instagram, or I'll put it somewhere so that you can have a look at it and maybe share it around. But I think it's so much more beneficial to remember that perfect is not what most people think perfect is. So yes, that's really, really important for me that people take that on board today. And if they take nothing else away from this, but just that the power of perfect is, it can be really, really empowering if you understand what perfect actually means, but equally it can be crippling if you don't. So hopefully that will be very good. Now, I've also got another few hints and tips on ways to keep your mental health in a happy place. The first of which, and I have been saying this my entire life through work, from where, when I started working on a help desk in an oil refinery when I was 18, I started saying this to my colleagues, and I have been saying it ever since, and it still drives me to distraction, and people do it too much. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare your salary to somebody else. Don't compare your earning power to somebody else. Don't compare your photography skills to somebody else. Remember, what other people tell you 90% of the time is not 100% true. Now, that doesn't mean that they are barefaced lying to you, but people who are running their own business want to present a very efficient, effective, business-like approach to the world. Now, you've probably noticed that this is not my style. I will quite happily say that if you look at where I am in my life and you look at what I am and what I've gone through, I'm probably not actually set up to do very well. I'm overweight, I'm a mother, I have a teenage child who has autism and ADHD. I spend huge amounts of my time at school or hospital appointments. I have a husband who works full time. I have anxiety issues. So if you put all of those things together, that's not really the ideal package for getting a online multinational business out into the world. However, because I have a healthy mindset most of the time, not all the time, because I'm honest about these things, I am able to move all of those negatives aside, or at least turn them into positives. And so I've been able to upscale my income through patterns over 10 times. I was shocked. And I've been able to reach a huge audience of yarnpreneurs and other yarn business folk. I've been able to create an environment and community where other business owners can come together and support each other and talk to each other. And I've done all of that with all that other stuff happening as well. The only time that I have available to work is while the kids are at school and my son comes home at 2 o'clock. So I have between the hours of 9 and 2 each day to do my work. So I have to make the best possible use of my time. And really, when you look at how little time I have, and when you add up all those other things, then that's really not necessarily the most glowing example of someone who can run a business. However, I say I don't care and I'm going to get on and do it anyway. So, seriously, stop comparing yourself to other people. There was somebody who I worked with, another manager at one of my previous companies, and he asked me how I'd got a salary that was significantly higher than his. Now, for the first point, I didn't know how he knew what my salary was, and I wasn't interested in what his salary was. But in the end, I actually took, because he would not drop it. He just kept going on and on and on about why was I earning more money than him. And in the end, I said, look, you've got a secretary, I haven't. I type my own stuff and send it out in one pass. You dictate something, she types it up. You correct it, she types it up. You look at it, and if you're lucky, that's when it goes out. If you're not lucky, it goes back for another round of corrections. So not only am I more efficient, but I'm also saving them some other person's salary. So, you really need to look at yourself before you look at other people to find out why you are earning what you are earning. So it wasn't that I was better than him. It's just that because he liked the ego rub of having a secretary who would go through and look at all his stuff and take his dictation, he liked that. That was part of his shtick. And because of that, his salary was fundamentally lower than mine because he was paying for an extra person for his ego. Whereas if he hadn't had that ego thing, then he could have been earning a higher salary. So, it really isn't a matter of him comparing himself to me because we were very, very different. And it seriously has to stop. Ruth, you rock, Babs. Oh, thank you. I compare myself all the time to others, and that's brought me down a lot. I always think other people are more successful and they are special. They may be special. I don't know. Everyone's special in their own way. But there's no way you can compare yourself to somebody else because you don't know their story. You don't know where they are, where they've come from, what they're doing. You don't know how many years they've spent getting to the point that they're at. I think, Ruth, I have to say, I think you are incredibly impressive. You were very intimidating the first time I spoke to you. Your designs are absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. And I was really nervous the first time I spoke to you. And whether you believe that or not, or whether you're just going to laugh hysterically into your tea at the thought that I was quite nervous about meeting you for the first time or chatting to you for the first time. No. It's not that you are intimidating and scary. It's just that was your no. It's not that was your reputation, but you had an aura about you of this highly professional woman who was producing really gorgeous, beautiful things that I loved, and so it's great to think that you have a wonderful persona online or in the greater world on the internet, but don't forget, you know what you're like, and you know that you've apparently spent the last week wanting to crawl under the duvet, but that's not the opinion, that's not the impression that I have of you, that's not the impression other people have of you. And so if that differs for just you, and that differs, the reality of what people see of me differs me, then that applies to other people as well. Everybody has a more polished persona that they present to the world, and then they've got the real world persona where they're like the swan, where their legs are going mad under the water, but they're gliding along looking professional. So I think it's incredibly important that we do remember that the private persona and the public persona are not necessarily the same. And as I say, I'm unusual in that I am very honest about the good stuff and the bad stuff. That's okay, just like the video, Karen. Like the video on its own and I'll be happy. If you where was I? Yes, if you remember that the everyone has good stuff and everyone has bad stuff, and just don't try and compare yourself to everybody's best version of themselves that they present, because I guarantee that you will be comparing the worst version of you on your worst day to the best version of them on their best day, with all of the filters and lighting and editing perfected before it's gone out into the world. So don't do that. Just really don't compare yourself to others unless you actually know them and you're working with them and you can see how you are both benefiting from some sort of joint venture or collaborative event or process. Then you can look at how you're doing, and you can talk about factual things that you can compare. If, for example, we're going through a process of working. Hi, Paula. Yes, hello, Paula. Yes, that's right. Some days our bad stuff won't leave us alone. But that's when we need to be able to have a community we can reach out to and just say, I'm having a really bad day. And it could be that just verbalizing that to someone is enough. Sometimes you need to ask for extra help. Sometimes you need to say, I just need to rant. I just need to just get this off my chest. I just need to say this thing, and then maybe I can move on, or at least people can give some help. And, this is why it's so important that we're not just sitting alone. We're just not sitting with our pets. And our pets are wonderful, but they really are not going to solve our business problems for us. We need to have an environment where there are more people who can help us out, more people we can bounce ideas off of. Mine likes to sneak up and trip me. It's devious that way, says Paula. Yeah, it can be, but you can still talk about it after you've tripped, and most definitely make sure that there are people there to help you get back up again after you've tripped. And I'm going to have to move, or my foot is going to go dead. 1 second. Oh, it is dead already. Ouchie. Right. The next thing that I've got is don't punish yourself. Just because you haven't reached a certain level, or you haven't achieved certain things, or you haven't spoken to certain people, that doesn't mean that you should give yourself a hard time. Don't tell yourself off for not having done something that's not completely in your control. Just give yourself a bit of space and be kind to yourself. And really, that it's so important to your mindset, is that being kind to yourself and not pushing yourself harder than you would push other people. Oh, my foot's coming back to life now, and that's really painful. So if you would chastise a staff member for doing something, then if you wouldn't chastise a staff member rather for doing something, then don't give yourself a hard time over it. So if at the end of the day you had a VA who was working on a project for you and they had a couple of typos in it, you might ask them to redo it, but you wouldn't necessarily give them a massive long lecture about how inappropriate it is to submit stuff that doesn't have a typo in it, how unprofessional they are, how lackadaisical they are, and why on earth didn't they spot it, and are you stupid that you didn't spot that the first time. And yet we do that to ourselves quite frequently. We punish ourselves for things that we would never speak to another human being like if they were working for us. So really do need to keep a lid on that element of it, and don't push yourself and punish yourself so harshly. You know, it's about being kind to yourself and giving yourself enough space to be able to work and to process your thoughts effectively. So that's the main things that I was going to talk about today. Oh, I do have a question for people. I've been putting up inspirational quotes on Instagram and also sharing them within the Facebook community. And people do seem to like them. They do seem to benefit from them. But I just want to make sure that, you know, it's a reasonable amount of effort to do that. Is that something that people are finding beneficial? Because if that's the case, then absolutely I will continue to do that on Instagram and in Facebook. So if you let me know if those quotes, those inspirational thoughts and the explanations of what I mean by those thoughts are helpful in any way, then I will continue doing them. Karen, I really enjoy them. Oh, excellent. No, that's fine, because I just didn't want to turn into some sort of posy person who's just spouting random things. If it actually means stuff to people, and I was trying to make sure that they were meaningful to me, but if they are truly meaningful to other people, then I will continue to do them. So that's good to know. Thank you, Karen. Ruth, so true. One of the biggest lessons I took away from counselling was that I was hard on myself. And my counsellor said to me, what would you say to your closest friend? Why say that to yourself? You could see it at just the right time and have it answer a need. Okay, Paula, I will continue with those. I will continue with them. That's fine. I'm putting together a Pinterest board, and I will have a section in there for inspirational quotes and stuff, motivational quotes. So if you've missed something or you fancy having a look, then there's a YarnAcademy Pinterest account. If anybody out there has a Pinterest account, please let me know. I'm more than happy to include you in a collaborative board. Or if you want to join my Tailwind tribe, which is free to join, let me know and I will share a link for that Tailwind tribe and we can all start to share. I would love that board, so I'm trying not to scroll so much. Okay, Ruth, I will post out some links in the Facebook group, and I'll also put it down here in case people aren't a member of our Facebook group. And really what I'd like to say now is there are 3 things that you can do if you want to get more involved with YarnAcademy and want a little bit more support with your business life, your yarn. So first off, you can join our YarnAcademy group on Facebook if you are a yarn entrepreneur, if you have a yarn-based business. So that would be over at YarnAcademy, and I'll put a link in the YouTube description below. I think most of the people who've been commenting on this video today have actually been, they're all members of the YarnAcademy Facebook group, so come along and meet them if their comments have inspired you at all. The second thing is I will be running a next round of review and refocus, which is where we look at our business goals, our targets for the past, If you were with me on the last round in January, then you will hopefully have some targets that you set in January that we can be looking at. We can see what worked, what didn't work, if you need to pivot, if you need to redirect, if life has taken you in a whole new direction. And we can then look at planning out the next 3 months of business for you and what you would like to look at. That is a free challenge. It's a 10-day challenge, and there will be a link in the description below if you want to sign up to that. And finally, the third thing is that I am launching the Embark Mastermind group, which will be starting after Easter, so we can all get our Easter celebrations out of the way and then start to focus in on that particular process. There is 6 weeks of focus. I'm reading from notes here. 6 weeks of focus on your business. So you get a spotlight session, at least one, depending on how many people are in the group. You get more than just the one. Over the 6 weeks, you have accountability to make sure you're actually progressing. So I think some of the people who are currently taking part in the test version have found the accountability quite helpful. There's going to be 12 in a group, or a maximum of 12 in a group, Ruth. I don't want there to be more than that, because I think that way it will all kind of get out of hand. Let's see what Ruth's commented. Sorry, 1 minute. Oh, so timely. I'm editing my targets so they demotivate me instead of inspiring me. Plus, I'm looking for a mainstream job, so I'll probably need to adjust my business a lot. Okay, Ruth. Then yes, absolutely, we can do that. That's not a problem. And it is an incredibly supportive group for your great and not so great days. You know, we've had people who 1 week said, I'm going to be doing this, and then the next week they've come back and they've gone, I didn't do that at all, but I did do this other stuff. And even in the course of 1 week, your entire business can flip and turn, and you just need to be able to pivot. And if you've got a group of people that you can explain that to or talk it through, then that is so much more empowering, and it really helps you understand why you're making those decisions and have confidence in the decisions that you are taking for yourself and for your life. So the wait list is open now, and as I say, it will actually be starting after Easter. So if you want to know more information, then you can do that. I'll just type a comment, and the comment, hold on. As I go silent as I type at the same time. Oh, this is so strange. I'm watching myself typing off to one side. So this is the link. The one's already in it. Well, you see, it was a trial that was free. The new version of Embark is going to be a paid service. It's only £15 a week for a 6-week course. But have a look, decide if it's for you. I personally think that £15 a week is definitely worth the investment. You will benefit so much more than 15 quid. That I think it's well worth doing. But have a look. You can ask questions, and I'm sure the people that are currently on it will let you know what their honest thoughts are. And you don't need to reapply, Paula. I will let you know when the option to sign up for the next course is available. So you can sign up if you wish to be, belt and braces, doubly sure, going to get the information. Otherwise, I will let the current Embark members know when they can sign up if they wish to continue on after Easter. So does anybody have any questions that you want me to answer around mindset? I've got quite a few articles coming up, and they're around mindset and things you need to think about. And also there's one for introverts and people who find it difficult to communicate with others. It's just a little PDF, but I'll have an article explaining it in a bit more detail. There's some fun ways to think about various bits and bobs. So it's all things that will hopefully keep you with a healthy mindset, which is absolutely critical when you are running your own business. It's critical if you're trying to have a healthy and fun life, but it's even more so if you are running your own business and you are alone with your thoughts for a lot of the time, and it's just it's a critical thing to make sure that you have a healthy mindset. So as there don't appear to be any other questions right now, I will say goodbye for now, and I will share a copy of this video link in the Yarn Academy group so people can watch it on replay. And also, please, if you are not already subscribed to the Yarn Academy YouTube channel, the channel this is showing on is my main one, which is coming up to 20,000 subscribers, which is insane. You can subscribe to this channel if you like, but you don't have to. But if you haven't subscribed to the main YouTube channel, please do, which is Yarn Academy, and I'll put a link somewhere to that, probably in the Facebook group rather than here, and that would be appreciated. And I will speak to you next week sometime. Bye for now.